start? Got the women's here. Okay. Because fascinating short piece here. Even though it looks alike, it's not. It's pretty short. Once we get to a certain concept, we'll see how it flows. It's basically a little bit of a halachic and ashkafic piece. We have to learn. I want to speak about the ashkafa first, then look into the halachic side of it. There's a concept that's called. I guess everyone wants to feel like they are emet, like they're emes, they're truth, right? Is there a concept, do you believe in a concept that's called relative truth?
It's almost true. No, it's true relative to something. I think that's what a relative truth is.
Right. Almost true is not true.
That's right. In a certain context, it's...
Right. Relative truth, what's relatively true?
It's excluding parts of whatever you're dealing with.
Is that true?
It's not relevant. Otherwise, right, otherwise it's truth.
Emet is truth.
Right.
Okay. Is there room?
Well, like what Aaron did, like he would get people together and say, like...
Very good. Obviously, that's what we're leading to, because we don't have that much time. I mean, we could build on this for hours right now, but when the Midrash speaks about the difference between Moshe and Aaron, they really speak about Chesed and Emet. So, right, Moshe was Emet. Moshe was truth to the core. Moshe was... In the women's shir, we spoke about how much, the 3 shiurim on how Moshe Rabbeinu could not be the leader to go into Eretz Yisrael, because to go into Eretz Yisrael, to be leading into Eretz Yisrael, of course you have to have Emet in your core, but Chesed has to be right there with you. The shaila is, does Chesed, being compassionate and full of kindness, does it soter, does it contradict being Emet? So, obviously it doesn't, but the question is, so what does it do? What does Chesed and Emet do? How do they meet? And in this piece, based on our Parsha, we're going to see an incredible connection between these two brothers, Moshe and Aaron, which shows us that their relationship was the deepest. And every time we come in contact with them, together, we see that Hashem is teaching us that it's the whole package. But we have to understand what each of them represent. Where else have we seen, we come in contact with their relationship that has shed a lot of light as to how to be in the world? Like, think about their relationship. What do we know about them from the beginning? What's Moshe Rabbeinu's first concern? What's his first concern when God tells him, you're going to lead Am Yisrael out of Egypt? What's his first family concern? Yeah. He's worried about my brother. He said, Hashem says to him, don't worry, don't worry. You have a brother that when he sees good things happening to his sibling, it's as if it happens to him too. He'll have simcha in his heart. Where else do we see that the brothers could have come to a very close confrontation? However, something... Where? Now what happens? How does he respond to Chet HaEgel? What does remember, what does Moshe tell Aaron? He asks him, right? He kind of is like, what is going on over here? Aaron says to him, I did this, I told him to do this. How does he respond back to Aaron afterwards? Whatever it was, they still went out for coffee. Meaning that the point is that Moshe Rabbeinu understands his brother is, they come from the same mother and father, but their midot that they live by, that which, like you would say, this is who they are. It's different qualities, and it didn't freak them out. Like, but many of us are like, shocked that we're so different from our siblings, right? And it causes at times tension. Like, how could it be that we came from the same place, right? Either I'm off or you're off, but obviously you're off because I feel the way I would take my midah before yours, right? So it's a very beautiful thing to see when these brothers meet and chesed and emet come together. In our parsha, it shows up in a really, really strong way. And we're going to see it in a second. Now, just another thing on a halachic level, there's something that's called, and it's a Gemara in Zvachim. I was looking at it before. I was looking at it last night. It's a complicated Gemara, as are most of the Gemaras in Zvachim. And there it speaks about Koche Shah and Koche Doros. Koche Shah means the Kochim that you makriv lefi Sha'ah at the time that Hashem tells you to. But then there's a concept called Koche Dorot, the Kochim that last forever, that are always going to be. And there are a lot of differences between the two. What do you think could be the difference, one difference between a Kodesh that you have to makriv lefi Sha'ah versus a Kodesh, a Korban you have to be makriv forever? What could be one of the differences? What do you think? If something has to do with right now as opposed to forever, how would you treat the right now versus forever?
Well, on the hand, you got to do it right now, so it's more urgent.
You think less, you just do it on the other hand?
On the other hand, it's not as, in some sense, not as important.
It would seem, because of the lack of urgency, that it also alludes to less nachon, chashivut. Very good.
Well, it's urgent in that moment, it's not permanent.
I think you were referring to the Doros. Yeah, he's referring to the second type. Lack of urgency. That's what you would think. Like if you knew, like it always happens. Like if you knew you had to get something done right now, as opposed to I have something to take care of. Even if that thing that you have to take care of later is very important, urgency usually creates the sense of importance by somebody. So Koche Shah versus Koche Doros, I would look at Shah and say, okay, because I have to do it right now, it must mean that it's much more important. But that's not really emes v'amita, because there are things that maybe don't have to happen right now, but on the level of importance, they're far more important than whatever I have to do on an urgent level right now. Could be.
You could look at it though that you only have that moment to deal with it. So in that moment, it's more important.
That becomes the most important thing.
Dobro, it's also important. But in that moment, it takes it back. It's like a 1B.
But we usually don't approach we approach the Shah like that. We don't usually approach the Doro. Those things that don't have to be done now, I can procrastinate.
Right. No, I'm agreeing. It's exactly right.
Yeah, I can procrastinate, even if it is that important. It's okay. I'm good. We'll find time. God doesn't want me to sweat. He wants me to do things b'naisa. He wants me to find you. Yeah, exactly. So, having said all this, let's see if we could dive into this. This is a beautiful piece by the Rebbe, by the Lubavitcher Rebbe. בפרשתנו יש דין ודברים בין משה לאהרון. זה היה ביום השמיני למילואים. We're going to come to a very interesting interaction between the two brothers that happens on the 8th day of the Miluim. Now, what is the 8th day of the Miluim? What date on the calendar was the 8th day of the Miluim? ויהי ביום השמיני,
First day of the next week.
Of the next, meaning the following Sunday? Or I mean on the calendar. What day was it? What's the inauguration? When was this? When did this parsha happen? It's Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Rosh Chodesh Nisan. The inauguration of the Mishkan. Rosh Chodesh Nisan, coming up next week. It also happens to be whose birthday? You'll see. I'm ashamed, appalled, and embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. You're actually going to make me get up and leave right now.
My birthday? No.
It's your wife's birthday. No, I'm kidding. No, it's Rabbi Nachman's birthday. It's a very, very big thing. Everyone goes and travels. Anyway, okay, sorry. Purim is still in, Okay, Zaya b'yom hashmini l'miluim, on the 8th day of the Miluim, la'achar motam shel Nadav v'avihu b'nei Aaron. After the two out of the 4 sons of Ahron Hakohen die, there's this din v'dvarim, there's these words, this exchange that happened between Moshe and Aaron. And what happens on the 8th day? Lamrot ha'evel, despite the mourning, nimshecha ha'avodah b'mishkan, which is, I never understood how that could be. You know that, like, to me, one of the most puzzling parts of this whole thing is that the avoda in the Mishkan continued by Aaron and his two other sons, Elazar and Itamar, despite the mourning. That the two other sons were just killed, or died. I don't know how to even say. Do you say died or were killed? About Nadav and Avihu. What do you say? They were killed. Perished.
Yeah, but it was
Fire from
yeah, their life was taken from them, so they were killed.
You know, whenever you say that word, who do I think of? You probably remember.
Robert Parrish?
Yeah, Robert Parrish. Well, that's with an A. Whatever. He was like an assassin as well. So.
Thanks for bringing me there.
Nimshecha avodat tam. Do you remember Robert Parrish? Chief. Rabbi, you remember, right? Nimshecha avodah b'mishkan. Ve'aron u'banav ikrivu et hakorbanot. Ben hakorbanot hayu kochei sha'a. So amongst the korbanot that they had to keep on doing was kochei sha'a, meaning korbanot she'ukravu al pi tzivui Hashem be'ota sha'a bilvad. Korbanos that had to be sacrificed in accordance to Hashem's commandment at that moment alone. V'gam kochei doros, and also what? Korbanot sheyesh la'akrivam gam bedorot habayim. Korban that wasn't just about that moment; it was about that moment and forever. Kan hitolera sheila. Ketzad linhog bekorban achatat sheukrav leregel Rosh Chodesh. We always know we have a seir chatat on Rosh Chodesh that you're supposed to bring, and the question was, what should they do? Should they bring it or should they not bring it? Should they eat it? Should they not eat it? Dino shel korban chatatu, the din regarding a korban chatat, שהכהנים צריכים לאכול את בשרו בחצר אוהל מועד. When it comes to the korban of Rosh Chodesh, the law is the Kohen has to eat the basar in the Chatzer Ohel Moed. ולמחשב היו הכהנים שבויים באבל, but now they were in mourning. קודם שנקברו המתים. This is what's so crazy. It's before, they're not just in Avel, they're onen. They're even onen, meaning the dead were not, the two sons were not even buried yet. So therefore, what did the Kohanim do? לכן שרפו הכהנים את שעיר החטאת ולא אכלוהו. They burnt the seir, they burnt the goat, they burnt this korban, but they did not eat it.
Is bringing a korban considered a mitzvah?
So that's another whole shiloh over here, meaning you think, okay, eating, they didn't do it because they're an onen, but if they were completely onen, then they wouldn't have even burnt the seir chatat. Right?
You're not allowed to, or you're not
No
required
mitzvah.
to?
No mitzvah.
No, you're not.
You're
I don't think you're allowed to.
I thought
You're
you're
just
not-
putter.
I
You're
thought
not.
you're putter. You're not.
No,
required.
I asked the Shira.
I pray that I never have to.
I asked the Shira about making a bracha on the sphira, and I was told not to make the bracha. And I asked if I could. It was like, I know I don't need to, but can I?
Let's go back and say, look at these. This is very interesting now. The point is that they didn't do what they normally would have done. That's the point over here. Now, כששמע Moshe קצף על בני Aaron. Moshe hears they didn't eat the korban, the seir chatas. He gets angry. מדוע לא אכלתם את החטאת במקום הקודש? Why didn't you eat the chatas where you're supposed to be in the chatzar al moed? Now, why is Moshe even bothered? Because קודם לכן ציווה משה את הכהנים על פי ציווי השם לאכול מקורבן המנחה, אף על פי שהיו באבל וקודם הקבורה. So before, what happened? But by the way, different question. Sorry. Is the korban of Rosh Chodesh kochei sha or kochei doros?
Both.
Yeah, that's
You have to specific time, and it's
The korban of the mincha though, that's kochei sha. That has to do with right now. So look what happens over here. Kodem lachem tziva Moshe es hakohanim al pi tzivui Hashem le'echol mikorban hamincha af al pi sheyu be'evel lekodem hakvura hu tzipa efo shegam et korban hachatat yochlu v'lo yisrefu. So he expected that the way that they approached the korban mincha, which was a kochei sha, that they would approach the korban chatas the same exact way, because that's how they acted. Heshiv Aaron leMoshe. So Aaron now answers his brother. Hein hayom v'tikra'enech oti ka'ele v'achalti chatat hayom hayitav be'enei Hashem. Is this? Can you see me doing this, and this be befitting in God's eyes? Now, what is he really saying? Ta'anato shel Aaron hayta she'ein lilmod ma'tzivui ha'mefurash shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu be'inyan korban hamincha shu kochei sha'a al seir chatas shel Rosh Chodesh shu kochei doros. Aaron is saying, don't expect me to act now with this korban of Rosh Chodesh, which is Kochei Doros, in accordance to the way that I responded to eating to eating the korban mincha, which is Kochei Shah. ולכן לא היה מקום לאכול במצב כזה צעיר חטאס. There wasn't the time and place to eat the chatas. And then the parsha mesayemet, vayishma Moshe hears what his brother has to say. Vayitav beinav. Yeah, you're right. Now, the question that comes up from here, first of all, is how was Aaron able to eat the kochei shah? Meaning, if they're really in avelut, how was Ahron Hakohen even able to do the first korban and eat it in Mokom Kadosh?
I have a different shayla. When Moshe sees the Egel Hazav, he's not upset, but now he's upset.
No, he was pretty upset too.
It doesn't seem like they're upset at Aaron. He came and asked him, like, what's going on here? Anyway.
It is interesting. It's interesting shayla. But you hear that's what I don't understand is, how could it be that Ahron Hakohen was just in a good enough place when it came to the korban of the kochei shah? That's okay, but the Avel, the mourning, seems to have really gotten to him when it had to do with the Kochei Dorot. Like, when do you choose to have the mourning button on? MOURNING, right? Do you understand the question? Mm-hmm. Does anybody have an answer?
You have.
I think what happens when something urgent happens, you just respond. Right, the same way you get, you're doing something important, whatever it is, you get the phone call, you don't even know who's on the other end of the line.
Right.
You're picking up the phone. That's just what you do, right? So he did that then, but then when it was like in the middle of a more steady thing, it's like, it's not urgent.
It's not urgent right now.
I need to focus on, right now, here's where I am.
That means that you have created a situation that the Kohanim can eat the korbanos, not the simcha. No, but that's what you're saying. Meaning he is able. It's not that he was besimcha when he ate the korban mincha.
Right.
It's just that he had to do it. When you had to do it, you have to do it. Yeah, I've been shocked actually in times where I've seen people act in certain ways that seem heartless, but they're like, the show's got to go on no matter what. But then, when the show doesn't have to go on at that moment, they'll completely break down and mourn. It's like people that are in Avelus on Shabbos. That find out about a death on Shabbos by somebody. And on Shabbos, Emas of Kochei Shah. Shabbos. The second you do Havdalah, broken to the core. That's how Rabbi Shlomo was when he found out about his twin brother died. You know what? His Yortzeit is like any day right now. It was, actually, other Aleph we do Yortzeit for Ashkenazim. Anyway, but when the show doesn't have to go on, you don't have to act like the show has to go on. I've shared this story with you. One of the most depressing moments I had was the night that we brought home Tiferet, my first daughter. I had a concert in Tel Aviv. And when I called the organizers to say, I'm coming home right now from the hospital, I'll bring home my first daughter, my first child. And they're like, oh, Eze Yofi, Mazal Tov, sound check b'6:30. And the Kohen in me gets, when you talk to me, I can't hold back. I said, what? What did you just tell me? Mazel Tov, sound checks at 6:30? Anyway, I looked at my wife, and it's not like, I was shocked. But then I had a machshava, I said, wait a second. If I check out of this right now, then the other musicians that their parnasa is dependent on them, I'm messing them up. So you know what I'll do? No problem. They wanted me on last and the night to be the star of this evening. It's a bunch of different artists. I said to them, you know what? I don't want to mess up my bandmates. Doors open at 8. I'll do the first slot from 8:30 to 9. Means I'll be home by 10 o'clock. Instead of going on at 11:30 and coming home like a shmata from the first Shabbos as a father, right? So this is an amazing thing. I get there and I said to them, okay, look, I made it. I thought they'd be like so thankful and happy that I made it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to go up first because I became a father today. You're the nail of the evening. You're going on. Look at this auditorium that was in the Tel Aviv Museum. I looked at the guy, and this guy happened to be an old family friend of mine, or so I thought, of my father, a conductor, and he looked lifeless. He looked at me lifeless. I said to him, I took him to the side, I said, "Ata shomeh et atzmecha? Do you hear yourself? I just became a father. God trusts me with a child. You think this matters? You think this concert means anything in the world?" He says, "אני לא יודע מה אתה אומר. כשאני נהייתי אבא, והבת שלי, היה לה חום, 40, whatever it was, she was like sick with fever, shaking, and my wife's like, אשתי אומרת, מה נעשה? והיא ידעה, the show must go on. I remember to this day he says that to me. The show must go on. Now I looked at him and then I told my father, I said to him, I pity your children and the home they grew up in. Titbayesh lecha. This is my father's friend of 40, 50 years. And I looked at him and then you know what? He wouldn't let me off the hook. There's nothing I could have done. At that moment I remember I went to the side and I said to myself, I would have never imagined that you would want a situation like this, but you're not giving me a way out, so what am I supposed to do? So I went up, I was supposed to play a bunch of songs, I played like 1 or 2 songs, and I spoke about Kedushat Yeladim, the holiness of children, and how children are waiting for their parents their whole lives to show up. And I looked at him the whole time he was in the crowd too. And then I wrote him this very harif letter. Anyway, the point of what I'm saying.
Did he agree with you after?
No, if he'd agree with me, his whole relative truth, right? So his thing is like, this concert or any concert is koche shah, right? Is there such a thing? Like you know, my friend Naftali always tells musicians that come to him with ideas and dreams, let me just say the first thing. No song has ever really changed the world. It's made a lot of people feel good. But no song is Koche Shah. Sorry. Huh? It's Koche, hopefully it's Koche Daros, right? Sorry. You agree? Anyone that goes into the music thinking that we treat, you know what's so sick is that so many artists treat their art as Koche Shah. They really believe that it's Koche Shah. There's a concept called Koche Daros. Koche Shah is only the Ribono Shleim tells you, I need of this of you right now, and nothing more. But I saw a person that really, anyway, that's what came to mind when I started looking at this piece. And I wrote him a very, very long letter afterwards, and I called him by his previous name before he changed it, because I reminded him who I was. He forgot that I was my father's son. I showed it to my father first. My father couldn't believe it, but he was proud of me. He said, send it to him. Anyway, that's why the whole approach I have to the whole industry is bizayon. It's not so good, but it's like, how do you say bizayon?
Disgrace.
I don't the whole thing is just, it's shtuyot. Havel. It's there's a lot of good stuff there, but don't you dare treat concerts, especially when it's on the cheshbon of family, on any level, like Koche Shah. Alavai, it should fall under the category of Koche Doros. Okay, let's go back inside. Sorry about that tangent. The difference of opinion between Moshe and Aaron as to what to do regarding the Koche, which one? No, Dorot. Remember, their whole thing is what to do with the Rosh Chodesh Seir, right? He's saying the difference in their opinion has to do with who they are. HaMidrash Omer Chesed ze Aaron, Emes ze Moshe. Aaron is kindness, Moshe is Emet. Tchunata shel ha'emet she'en ba shinuyim. What's Emes? The show must go on.
No emotions.
No, nothing, right? Ubechol zman ubechol makom nisharim be'ota darga. Now, alavai, we could treat life like this. There's only one person that ever really treated life like this, and he suffered tremendously from it. Who's that? Moshe. he couldn't stay married. Meaning there's a lot of things that you can't do when you stay on that level, when you're in this world. This midah of emet, and no such thing as relative truth. Nothing but the truth. That's it. L'umata. What's midas hachesed? Midat hachesed mitchashevet bezulat u'b'matzavo. The midah of chesed is always, you know what litchashev means. It always considers, it always takes into consideration the given moment of where people are at. והיא מביאה בחשבון שיש מצבים עליונים יותר ותחתונים יותר. And it basically is able to live in a world where there's priorities.
Not black and white and gray. Like
think
not
it's
in scruples, but like
in an emet way.
right, like things that are
Usually you
so
say
clear.
gray area.
It's like not in
Right. In a very emet way,
Right.
there's gray. נכון. It sounds weird.
that overlap.
נכון. לכן סבר משה שאין הבדל בין קודשי שעה לקודשי דורות. במשה רבינו there's no difference. אם הקדוש ברוך הוא ציווה לאכול את קודשי שעה, יש לאכול גם כן את קודשי דורות. Right? God said you have to eat קודשי שעה. The same guy that said you have to do this, and that means now, must mean that whatever God says, you have to do it right now as well. Ulam Aaron, what was Aaron all about? Aya oev shalom v'odev shalom, oev esabiris makav on the Torah. But Ahron Hakohen, the lover and pursuer of peace, loved creations and brought them close to the Torah, like it's written right over here on the bima. Hu savar she'i efshar lidrosh, she'ota kedusha shekeret b'kodshei sha'ah, tiyeh gam b'kodshei doros. He's saying there's a difference in kedusha. There's a time. The show doesn't have to go on if it doesn't have to go on right now. And Moshe Rabbeinu's mind is, the show always must go on. Why? And from a holy place. Kasher Tziva Hashem, meaning Hashem saying this, it must happen now as well. Ahron Hakohen's understanding of listening to the commandment of Hashem is that Hashem knows I'm human. Hashem knows that there's something going on with me. Hashem knows my two sons have just perished. They're not even buried yet. If it's not a Kodshei Shah, God doesn't want me to do this right now. And this is basically what he tells Ahron Hakohen. We're on the bottom over here. And when Moshe Rabbeinu really heard Aaron, he agreed. It's true, truth never changes. אבל גם מידת האמת יודעת שאמת מוחלטת קיימת רק אצל הקדוש ברוך הוא. Emes knows that only Hashem is Emes. Meaning, an absolute truth that never ever changes. It's almost like Moshe Rabbeinu, Ahron Hakohen really like fixed Moshe Rabbeinu's soul on a certain level right now. He revealed something to Moshe Rabbeinu that he just wasn't working with so much until that moment. That as much as Moshe Rabbeinu, your midah is emes and everything, but don't you see that like I live with, I'm still a family. I live with my wife and children. Like, I can't. You, Moshe Rabbeinu, you have this midah of emet to be mufrash from the world and but I'm not like that. I'm still mishpacha. I live with my family. And my two sons just died. You know, we learned this a few months ago. Moshe Rabbeinu and his two sons. Isn't it amazing that Moshe Rabbeinu was not with his two sons in the most glorious time of all? Where everyone else was with their families, but Moshe Rabbeinu was not with his two sons. At where? At the Yetzias Mitzrayim. What about Har Sinai? Was he there? Were they there? When does he go back and bring them? We had a whole parsha on how Moshe Rabbeinu did not experience Exodus with his two sons. And therefore, the mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim was mainly given to Moshe Rabbeinu so that he can tell over to his children a story they never heard before. It was a whole shiur we had this year. Isn't that mind-blowing? That's why the language there is singular, v'higadata, not v'higadatim. You don't have to tell your children necessarily a story that they already experienced. But Moshe Rabbeinu, your children, they need to hear the story. So Ahron Hakohen is not Chalila telling Moshe Rabbeinu, dude, you have no idea what it's like. Somebody's saying, God forbid, like you don't know what it's like to lose a son or whatever. He doesn't know, because Moshe Rabbeinu didn't, as far as we know, lose children and have to deal with it. But on a very practical level, Moshe Rabbeinu is being told by Ahron Hakohen, when you're in this world, the midah of emet by humanity is to figure out priority. And that's what's happening over here. Ve'ilu babriya ha'emet hi le'olam yachasit, meaning emet is by Hashem an absolute. But in the world of creation, emet is always yachasit. How do you say yachasit in English? Relative. In the world of creation. כאשר אהרון הביא לפניו את מגבלותיו של העולם ואת חוסר יכולתו להגיע לאמת השלמה, הסכים משה שגם מיצוי היכולות היחסיות של הנבראים הוא בבחינת אמת. Moshe's concept of truth was redefined. Moshe's concept of truth was redefined. He thought truth was like God's truth in the Bria. It's impossible. Moshe Ahron Hakohen redefined the concept of truth for his brother Moshe Rabbeinu. So the Rebbe says, Mikan, yesh lilmod hora'ah. This is how the Rebbe always ended his teaching. From here, what do we learn? שכאשר פועלים עם יהודים שעומדים בדרגה נמוכה, when you're working with Yidden that maybe are spiritually on a low level, אי אפשר לתבוע מהם להגיע מיד לדרגת הקדושה העליונה. You can't demand from them to reach the midah of the emet of kedusha immediately. על האדם להעמיד את עצמו במצבו של היהודי הנחות. What man must do is place himself in the situation where the Yid that's still fallen is at. ולהביא לידי כך שגם במעמדו זה יוכל לקבל את אור הקדושה. And to create a scenario that in the place of where he's standing in his relative truth, not that he stays there, but at that moment, light can come in at where he's at. Ba'asher hu sham. Kach nifgashim chesed ve'emet. This is how truth and love meet. Umitgashemet matrat habriya. And the purpose of creation, mitgashem, becomes materialized, actualized. Which is what? The purpose of creation? La'asot lo yitbarach dira b'tachtonim. Making a dwelling place for Hashem down here in this world.
It's a very hard balance.
Yeah, big time.
I want to say an anecdote. I spoke to you last time about Gematria.
Yeah, that was crazy.
The opposite of emet is sheker.
Right.
Right? If you take the Gematria of emet, which is how much? 9. Aleph, mem is 4.
Kaf is
4.
Right.
You take the Gematria of sheker, is 6. Exactly the opposite. More than that, chesed, when does it come before emet? Chesed emet, not emet for chesed.
Right.
What's chesed? Gematria Ketana is 18.
Yeah, 8, 6, and 4. Yeah.
8 and 1 together is 9 also. You take the 8 and 1. But it also contains it. Okay? It contains, emet is double. Basically, chesed is double emet.
Right. 9 and 8.
It comes
It includes in it, but not necessarily the other way.
Right.
And med does not necessarily have to contain chesed.
Right. That's why it comes first.
That comes from first. Wow. That's very strong. That's mashlim, this teaching in a beautiful way. Thank you for sharing that. Yisher koyach. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Strong peace. Strong peace. Yeah. I don't want to get any of these back. I want you to keep these forever.
Well, I'm keeping it here and forever, but I'm also keeping it here.
That's
Sunday morning?
Yeah.